Thank you for joining this panel at Digital RESI. This panel is brought back by popular demand with the NIH. With that, I will hand it over to Stephanie Fertig, HHS Small Business Team Lead.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us virtually today during this virtual RESI. We certainly wish we could all be with you in person, but that's not possible. However, we're really hoping that today's panel will provide a brief overview of some of the great funding and support that NIH has available for small businesses. Today, we have panelists from 5 different institutes and centers across NIH, and I'm going to provide a brief overview of the overall NIH program, but then I'm going to turn it over to each one of the different panelists today to provide a brief discussion of what is specifically available within their institutes and what programs that they might have to really fulfill their mission. So with that, I want to talk about the NIH mission, which is really to turn discovery into health. And the Small Business Program helps NIH do that by taking the great innovations that are in the laboratory and moving those to the marketplace, into the hands of the patients, clinicians, caregivers, and researchers that need them. Now we have $1.2 billion dedicated to small business research and development. That's a lot of money, and it predominantly comes through these 2 programs that you see here, the Small Business Innovation Research Program and the Small Business Technology Transfer Program, or SBIR and STTR. Now you'll often hear federal employees talk about the SBIR program, and we tend to use that as shorthand for both of them, but there are 2 distinctive programs. The major difference between the 2 is that the SBIR encourages partnering and allows partnering, versus the STTR requires partnering with nonprofit research institutions to help facilitate transfer of innovations out of those universities and nonprofit research centers. The important thing to remember about both of these, though, is that the overall focus and the overall how both of these look is very, very similar. The kinds of research that they support is very similar. Now, at the end of the day, the NIH really is one of the largest sources of early stage capital for life sciences in the United States. This isn't a loan. This is non-dilutive capital. We don't take a piece of the company. And your IP and data rights are protected both through the law as well as the Small Business Policy Directive. Now, many of our awardees really help leverage this funding. They de-risk their technologies and are able to move the technology and the innovation to the point where they hit an inflection point and are able to attract investors and partners. You see, many of our innovations and technologies aren't ready to go to the market directly after small business funding, but they need additional venture capital or strategic partners to get it all the way into the hands of those clinicians and patients and caregivers and researchers. And as you can see from the chart here, the Small Business Program really operates in that early seed space. So who's eligible? We get a lot of questions about eligibility, and I'm not going to walk through this entire slide right now in the interest of time, except to state that it's really important to know this is determined at the time of award. It's not at the time of application, and it's for U.S. businesses. We do get a lot of questions around whether or not foreign businesses can apply. It's for-profit U.S. businesses, and in most cases, the work needs to be done in the United States. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, the work should be done in the U.S. We also get a lot of questions around individual ownership, and again, I would encourage you to read through the ownership guideline that's available on the web. You can also see them here on the slides. If you have any questions, you can reach out and talk with us, and we can help guide you or point you to the appropriate documentation. So the program is more flexible than a lot of people may realize, and I want to kind of walk through it very briefly, just again to help provide a base for some of the other presentations we're going to have from the individual institutes and centers. This is a phased program, and this is an unfortunate similarity in nomenclature. These phases don't relate to clinical trials phases. We get that question a lot. The phase 1 is a feasibility study. The phase 2 is further research and development. Now, one person's feasibility study may be another person's further research and development. So again, these terms are fairly vague, and that's on purpose. We allow for more flexibility. For some companies that are more advanced, they can do what we call a fast track that combines the phase 1 and phase 2 applications into one proposal. Those are particularly good for companies that really know their entire pathway, have some good solid preliminary data, and really understand what's necessary to get all the way through to that phase 2. And then we also have something called the direct to phase 2 for those companies that are even further along. Now, again, we recognize that there might be additional time and money needed to get to either a commercial market or to one of those inflection points. And that's why we have continuing additional phase 2s or a commercialization readiness pilot, which is a new program that we have, again, to support some of those activities necessary to get to that end point. Finally, we do have some flexibility with regards to the budget. It's another big question that we get asked a lot. You can see the budget numbers here for the different phases. These are the SBA guidelines, but we do have the ability to exceed those guidelines for many of our topic areas, particularly those that involve large animals or human subjects research. And so it's important to reach out to us. And as you can see here, not all institutes and centers participate in all of these different programs, the commercialization readiness pilot or the phase 2B, and each institute and center has different budget guidelines that they provide. So again, it's very important to reach out and contact us. And in fact, if you take nothing else from our presentation today, I want you to feel comfortable in reaching out and asking questions of the NIH. We're here to help you. We have a lot of information on the website, including, as you can see highlighted, where to find funding opportunities. If you're new to the SBIR and STTR programs, we have an infographic that walks you through the process. Several of the institutes, about 8, are actually part of an applicant assistance program. Again, recognizing that for new applicants who have not been successfully through the NIH process before, it can be a little difficult to navigate the first time. So we have this applicant assistance program that you can utilize. But at the end of the day, the majority of our applications come in through that general, we call it the omnibus solicitation, but that general solicitation and are investigator initiated. People telling us, here's the problem that we see clinicians or patients are having. Now, in addition to funding, we also have technical assistance and entrepreneurial training. And that's really because we recognize that many of our companies, again, are in that early stage and they need that additional support to help them move along the product development process. This support comes in the form of for additional funds to help with technical and business assistance or different programs. And as you can see, this is something that's evolving and we're continuing to add to this. In addition, for some of our newer companies, we have entrepreneurial training and assistance. And finally, in-house, we have experts that can provide our awardees help and guidance, from regulatory support to entrepreneurs and residents, to pitch coaching so that companies and support to attend different events like RESI, but also others, usually happening all across the country, but are currently happening virtually. Because again, we recognize that many of our companies are going to need either third-party investors or partners to take things to the marketplace. And so with that, I want to end again with encouraging you to reach out and contact us. If you're not sure of which institute or center to contact, and again, you're going to hear from several of them today, but if you're not sure who to contact, I encourage you to reach out to us. You can email us. You see the email here. You can email us and at the central NIH office, and we can help find which is the best institute or center for you to talk to about your specific technology, innovation, or project. And with that, I want to turn this over to Emily Caparello, who is going to be talking about the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke and some of their programs.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay. So the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke has several opportunities for funding for small businesses. Neuroscience research in general is supported by many NIH institutes. The NINDS is particularly interested in neurological disorders, which can include stroke, epilepsy, neurodegenerative disorders, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, neurogenetic disorders, and many additional neurological indications. The congressionally mandated set-aside for small businesses at NINDS is about $70 million annually. And we use this funding to support a broad scope of technologies, including therapeutics, diagnostics, research tools, devices, small molecules, biologics, and biomarkers, in addition to supporting a broad range of R&D activities across the commercialization space, from early stage drug discovery and device prototyping through early stage clinical trials. Now, as Stephanie mentioned, there is flexibility in the budget through the waiver program. NINDS does have several waiver topics approved that allow projects fitting within those waiver topics to request budgets that exceed the hard caps that are congressionally mandated. For phase 1 projects, NINDS supports budgets up to $700,000 in total cost, with no more than $500,000 per year. And in phase 2, NINDS supports budgets up to $3 million in total cost, with not more than $1.5 million per year. Our budget waivers and our budget guidance are provided on our website, and I highly encourage you to take a look at our guidance and then reach out to us to see whether or not utilizing budget flexibility is something that makes sense for your project. Now, to receive small business funding from the NIH requires applying to one of many possible funding opportunities. At NINDS, the majority of applications that we receive come in through the omnibus FOAs. Specifically, NINDS accepts non-clinical trial phase 1, phase 2, direct to phase 2, and fast track applications to the omnibus. We also participate in some separate funding opportunities for specific technical focuses. This includes funding opportunities for research tools funded through the BRAIN Initiative, for pain management funded through the HEAL Initiative, and specific funding opportunities for Alzheimer's disease and Alzheimer's disease-related dementia. In addition, NINDS does support later stage activities such as early phase clinical trials and post phase 2 activities through separate funding opportunity announcements. So NINDS has separate FOAs to support exploratory clinical trials and phase 2B SBIRs, and we do participate in the commercialization readiness pilot program that Stephanie mentioned previously. Almost all of the grant funding opportunities you see on this page are adhere to the standard SBIR STTR due dates or very close to them, with the next date of submission coming up on January 5th in 2021. In addition to grant funding opportunities, NINDS offers several cooperative agreement funding opportunities, or U44s, that are led in conjunction with programs across the Division of Translational Research and the Division of Clinical Research at NINDS. These include specific programs for devices, small molecules, biologics, biomarkers, and access to clinical trial networks. The specifics of each of these programs vary, but many of them offer access to additional resources or support at no cost to the participant or the applicant. I highly recommend taking, if any of these sound interesting to you, if you're developing in these spaces, to take a look at our website and read about the programs, and feel free to contact me or the assigned program officer to see if it might be a fit for your project. And then finally, I want to mention two programs that, that Stephanie did mention in her talk that NINDS does participate in. This includes the Applicant Assistant Program, which is aimed at helping small businesses apply for Phase 1 SBIR and STTR funding. As Stephanie mentioned, this is open to companies that have never received NIH SBIR STTR funding before, and diverse applicants are highly encouraged to apply to this program. The application portal is currently open until September 24th, and this cohort of applicants is intended to be developing Phase 1 applications for the January 5th submission date. And the website to that portal is available on this website. And in addition, I want to note that the application itself is quite brief. Please don't let the upcoming deadline scare you away from applying. It's intended to be a short application that can be filled out quickly. And then finally, I'll mention our involvement in the administrative supplements to promote diversity in research and development. As Stephanie mentioned, these supplements are intended to improve the diversity of the research workforce by allowing funded companies to bring on students, postdocs, and investigators from underrepresented groups to work on technical projects that are within the scope of their funded award. And more information can be found on that link to that funding opportunity. If anything I said in this talk is of interest to you, I encourage you to reach out and contact me. In addition, I encourage you to follow the Division of Translational Research, DTR, at NINDS Translate on Twitter, where we do make a lot of announcements about programs and opportunities. And in addition, please take a look at the Division of Translational Research website for a lot of the information that I provided here. I am also attending RESI. I do have my partnering portal open, and I'm happy to connect with you through this platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily. And that's a really great point. We really do encourage people to contact us either through the one-on-one portal or by sending emails. We're, again, here to help. And so with that, I want to turn it over to Suraj Rejmi, who is from the National Institute on Aging, to talk a little bit about what NIA, the different programs that NIA has and offers to small business.
Thank you, Stephanie. My name is Suraj Rejmi, and I'm a Senior Program Analyst at the Office of Small Business Research at NIA. Today, I'll give you an overview of the office, its function, and various funding opportunities that are available. So the Office of Small Business Research is here to help all small businesses acquire NIH funding and grow. There are 6 main responsibilities. The office administers all SBIR, STTR awards at NIA. We also help applicants prepare for applications, pre-submissions, and discuss any funding opportunities. We are heavily involved in outreach, so we will attend conferences, workshops, and visit organizations to raise awareness of the program. Because of the pandemic, it has mostly been virtual, but this probably is a blessing in disguise because you can virtually watch all of these outreach activities at the comfort of your home or your office. We also develop targeted funding opportunities and omnibus interest topics based on our conversation with various stakeholders. We're also heavily involved in networking. Our goal is not just to provide you with funding, but also to enable you to go further. So we hope to facilitate connections and also help you to identify partners, whether it be NIA or external stakeholders. One such example is the SBIR Bridge funding at ADDF, the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation, which provides funding to some of our Phase 1 companies. Additionally, we provide entrepreneurship training using webinars, and we're also in the process of facilitating ways to train the next generation of scientists here at the NIH and beyond to jumpstart entrepreneurship and innovation through our training programs. So I'd like to show this chart as it clearly demonstrates how much we have expanded over the years. We had 27.5 million budget in 2013, but now we've expanded to 118.7. So basically, there's a lot of funding available through the NIA. As a lead federal agency in Alzheimer's, we fund a lot of Alzheimer's-based research. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but this is just to show you the various funding levels. So we provide 300K, up to 300K for aging-related research and up to 500K for Alzheimer's disease and Alzheimer's disease-related dementia. In Phase 1, for Phase 2, that is up to 2 million. for aging and for 2.5 million for AD/ADRD. And so basically, if you take it from the start, our funding can help you grow your idea from a discovery project to almost commercialization if you utilize various funding mechanisms that are available. There are four main divisions, research divisions within the NIA. So the Division of Aging Biology supports basic research in aging and preventative strategies. Division of Behavioral and Social Research supports research in the process of aging, both at the individual level and at the society community level. The Division of Geriatrics and Clinical Gerontology supports research on health diseases in older people and research on aging over the human lifespan. The Division of Neuroscience supports research on aging brain and Alzheimer's, as well as dementia, Alzheimer's being one of our highest priorities. So our portfolio is quite diverse because we're disease agnostic. So as you can see, we strategically fund innovations for Alzheimer's disease and Alzheimer's disease-related dementias and age-related change in the brain, aging in place, age-related diseases and conditions, and also various research tools. Additional areas of interest has been highlighted here in the slide. And if you look at our portfolio, we have therapeutics at 32%, but we also support a lot of digital health technologies, sensors, supportive devices, in vitro diagnostic tools, and a bunch of other research tools. These are the various funding opportunities that are available. The omnibus refers to the general projects that are relevant for NIA, and our budget limits are 300K for phase 1 and 2 million for phase 2. And like I said before, you can get up to 2.5 million for the AD/ADRD focused. And we also have some specific funding opportunities for funding caregiving. So the idea here is to promote development of cost-effective and customizable training and education platforms for Alzheimer's caregivers that focus on addressing financial management and legal planning. Another one is Geroscience. We're excited about this given the massive interest in the scientific and investor community for targeting aging mechanisms. We recently did a webinar on both of these, so these will be available on our website. So I highly recommend that you check them out. And the deadlines are coming up, so note the deadlines. As I alluded to earlier, we have partnered with ADDF. They provide funding for companies that have been awarded phase 1. So this serves as a bridge funding for these companies as they try to secure a phase 2. If you have any questions, please contact Dr. Zane Martin for information. And we also try to participate in various resources to help our entrepreneurs. So I think we've already talked about the AAP, the Applicant Assistance Program, the TABA. There's also diversity supplement so that we can increase the diversity of biomedical research workforce. And we also participate in C3I program as well as the I-Corps. We also help some of our companies present at various investor showcases throughout the US. Some of the examples have been highlighted in the figure here. And what we've done recently is that we have launched a virtual showcasing for some of our NIH-sponsored companies on our website. We've divided them into devices, diagnostics, therapeutics, and digital health and sensing technologies. So please learn more about them at the link that I've shared in the slide. I'm also very excited to announce that we will have Dr. Don Rose join us as one of our entrepreneur in residence. He'll be available to advise our companies as well as coaching. He has extensive experience as an entrepreneur as well as an educator. So I think that would be a very good resource for our NIA companies as well. One thing that I'd like to highlight is the webinars that we have curated on our website. We're very interested in demystifying the application process and providing guidance. And we hope that you'll find these webinars helpful and hope that they serve as a guide as you navigate through the sometimes cumbersome funding process. And stay in touch. Visit our website, follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn, and also do not hesitate to contact us via email. And we're also happy to hear from you for any general comments and suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saroj. So now we're going to turn it over to Stephanie Davis, who's going to be providing a description of the different programs that are available through the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, or NHLBI. So turning it over to you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our panel today. My name is Stephanie Davis. I am the brand new Small Business Program Coordinator at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. So if you have any questions about the material that I'm presenting today, please feel free to get in touch with me at my email, which is listed below. So at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, we participate in 3 different types of funding opportunities. So I would say that most of our small business grants and proposals come in under the NIH HHS Omnibus Grant solicitations, which I will talk more about in a minute. But these adhere to the standard due dates, so January 5th, April 5th, and September 5th. The second type of funding opportunity we participate in are the targeted funding opportunities. So we have not as many of these as some other institutes, but some of the ones that we participate specifically include our Phase 2B programs, which include the Bridge program and the Small Market programs. We also participate in the Diversity Supplement that is specific for small business programs, and several others that can be found at sbir.nih.gov/NHLBI/funding. And finally, we do participate in the annual SBIR contract solicitations. So only some ICs participate in this, but these are due in October. So if you're interested in the topics that NHLBI is looking at, that is also found at our funding website. So the NHLBI Small Business Program currently funds approximately 312 active projects, and our budget for fiscal year 2020 is approximately $115 million. So currently our portfolio breaks down to be approximately 40% of our projects focused on the development of therapeutics, 31% for diagnostic tools, about 16% for supportive and monitoring medical devices, and the remainder of our portfolio focuses on research tools and health IT or software as medical devices. So just to keep in mind, this breakdown is not set in stone. This really just depends upon what applications we get from year to year. But as I mentioned in the previous 2 slides, most of our opportunities come in through the omnibus solicitations. So in my slide here, we participate in both the SBIR and the STTR funding opportunities that include clinical trials and do not include clinical trials. So for these, we adhere to the standard budget caps of $256,000 for a phase 1 and about $1.7 million for a phase 2. However, if your proposal falls under one of the NHLBI waiver topics, and for most proposals related to heart, lung, blood, and sleep disorders, it will fit in under one of those waiver topics. That budget limit goes up to $300,000 for a phase 1 and $2 million for a phase 2. So if you are curious as to whether or not your proposal falls under one of these waiver topics or which one of these omnibus solicitations is right for you, our central email inbox is nhlbi_sbir@mail.nih.gov. And we also advertise new funding opportunities on our Twitter account, which is listed below at NHLBI_SBIR. So our small business program is housed specifically within the Office of Translational Alliances and Coordination, or OTAC, within the Division of Extramural Research Activities. So at OTAC, we not only include people who are involved with the small business program, but we also include a team of experts in investment, intellectual property, business development, and regulatory affairs. So in Stephanie's introduction, she introduced Dr. Steve Flame and Dr. Gautam Prakash, who are part of our OTAC team. Specifically, Steve also works in our office as our investor in residence for NHLBI, with Gautam working as our intellectual property expert. In addition, we also have Luis Gutierrez, who is our business development investor in residence, and we recently welcomed Kwame Ulmer to our team as our new regulatory expert. So if you have any questions that could specifically be answered by one of our OTAC experts, so on our website at sbir.nih.gov/NHLBI, if you look at the For Help contact, that will lead you to our small business inquiry form. So please fill this out and we can make sure that it gets to the expert who can best help you with your needs. Another new program that our office specifically participates in is the Catalyze program. So our former small business program coordinator, Dr. Mike Peck, now directs the Catalyze program, which is designed to de-risk early stage technologies through a comprehensive suite of funding and services offered. The main goals of the Catalyze program are specifically to help early stage entrepreneurs or innovators, mostly at academic institutions, with product definition, preclinical development, and enabling the development of early stage technologies and platforms. So if you are curious as to what kind of services the Catalyze program offers, the link down there is below, and it includes all of the development and professional services that are available. Specifically, we have several different targeted funding opportunity announcements that fall under the Catalyze program funding opportunities. So some of these specific Catalyze FOAs are listed here, including the enabling the development of technologies and transformative platforms for heart, lung, blood, and sleep research. We have several RFAs that are focused on the product definition for small molecules and biologics, so our therapeutic focused ones. We also have several funding opportunity announcements that are focused on the prototype design, testing, target identification for devices. So we accept applications for these specific funding opportunity announcements several times a year. The last deadline was in July, but the next due date for these funding opportunities is going to be March 9th of 2021. And once again, if you have any questions about our programs, please send us an email at nhlbi_sbir@mail.nih.gov or send me an email specifically. And I will be attending RESI, so if you have any other questions or you would like to connect with me on the partnering platform, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stephanie. So now we're going to turn it over to Hijao English, who's going to be specifically talking about the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases and their different programs for small businesses and how they utilize the small business program to support and move forward their mission.
Thank you, Stephanie. My name is Hijao English. I'm a small business development specialist at National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. I will go over the specific aspects of our program briefly here. For our mission, NIAID conducts and supports basic and applied research to better understand, treat, and ultimately prevent infectious, immunologic, and allergic diseases. Our small business grants are held by program officers in 3 of the NIAS divisions, the Division of AIDS, Division of Allergy, Immunology, and Transplantation, as well as Division of Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. NIAID has a unique mandate which requires our institute to respond to emerging public health threats, which includes the current COVID-19 pandemic. Our fiscal year 2020 budget for SBIR STTR set aside is approximately $175 million. Here are some unique aspects of our program that I would like to highlight in this slide. NIAID funds applications primarily based on scientific merit, which for the most part is the priority score. All applications except for CRP and U44 within published pay lines are funded. Meritorious applications above pay line may be funded at end of year based on the situation within our institute. So we also do allow a budget that above the NIH hard cap. If your project fit in one of the waiver topics in our list, we allow up to $300,000 per year budget for up to 2 years. And for phase 2 applications, we allow $1 million per year budget for up to 3 years. The topics in our waiver topic list are interpreted quite broadly by our program officers, and this applying for this waiver budget will not impact funding decision. However, during the scientific review process, if the review panel deem necessary, your budget may be reduced. NIAID also allow phase 2B applications via the SBIR parent and select FOAs. For us, the matching funds is encouraged by the program, but it is not a requirement. Currently, the phase 2B mechanism is SBIR only. However, if you have a phase 2 STTR award, you can switch to SBIR at this point. And additionally, for our clinical trial applications, we do not participate in the omnibus solicitation. Our clinical trial applications are through the U44 mechanism. So for this mechanism, you can submit phase 2 fast track applications and phase 2B applications. However, direct to phase 2 currently is not accepted for U44. We at NIAID also participates in the CRP program via the PAR 1933 mechanism only. So here are also additional resources I would like to highlight for researchers, which during the COVID pandemic, a lot of the researchers are requesting resources from this list. So our 3 divisions provide access to a number of helpful clinical and preclinical trial resources to help fill the gap for small businesses. These are generally at no cost to investigators, and also awards with us is not required for you to access these resources. As you can see here, the resources include therapeutic, diagnostic, and vaccine development services provided by our Division of Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. We also provide access to unique specimens and material libraries here at NIAID. You can also gain BSL 3 and 4 facility access through us. And we also offer bioinformatics, genomics, and other omics resources. Here you can also access the clinical trial networks through our Division of AIDS. Division of Microbiology and Infectious Disease also offer business development resources if needed. Pertaining to the current pandemic, we also have COVID-19 specific services and resources. You can read more about each of these bullet points in the link below on our website under research resources. So here are some useful websites for you to learn more about our program. Of course, the first one would be the NIAID SBIR STTR website that goes over the program to give you an overview of what's in our program. And the second bullet points would be the NIAID SBIR STTR high priority areas of interest. You can learn whether your application would align strongly with NIAID's current mission and priorities through these areas of interest. And all of our current small business funding opportunities are listed under the third bullet points in this link. And a lot of, we do receive a lot of inquiries about our samples of successful applications from NIAID here on the fourth link. It can be really helpful for applicants to prepare your application. So to reach out to us, we highly recommend before you submit your application for you to get in touch with one of our program officers and to receive feedback regarding your specific aims in your application. So for reaching out to us, you can reach out either to our NIAID Small Business Program Coordinator, Dr. Natalia Kuching, through her email, or through our general NIAID email at niaidsbir@mail.nih.gov. We recommend that you provide a non-confidential abstract of your technology and your planned specific aims. We can then forward your document to one of our division liaisons from the 3 divisions for them to recommend an appropriate program officer to provide you technical and scientific feedbacks. That would be all from me, and I would like to turn the presentation over to Nancy from NCI.
Great, thank you. So while Nancy is loading the slides again, thank you for talking a little bit about what NIAID is currently involved in. And so now we're going to end the last presentation and have NCI conclude it for the panel today, and specifically focus on some of their different things and activities that they're doing in the small business program.
Thanks. Hello, I'm Nancy Kamei from the National Cancer Institute's SBIR-STTR program. I'm one of 12 program directors on the team at the NCI, and one of the things that makes the NCI program unique is this team, which is wholly focused on the SBIR-STTR program. Let's start by taking a look at our portfolio, which has 475 active awards, which awarded $173 million in fiscal 19 and going to be approximately $179 million in fiscal 2020. Most of these are grants, 86%, and as you can see, the largest sector is cancer therapeutics, but you can also see that we have active awards across all the various sectors in the cancer field, including digital health and research tools. So if your innovation touches the cancer field or the lives of cancer patients, then please consider applying to our program. The NCI program is also structured as a 3-phase program, as Stephanie went over, and we do have the Phase 2B Bridge Award, which I just wanted to spend a minute on. This program is follow-on funding for SBIR Phase 2 program awardees from any federal agency, as long as your innovation project has something to do with the NCI mission. Competitive preference and funding priority goes to those companies who can raise substantial outside funding. A few years ago, we analyzed this program and found that for every dollar the NCI gave in funding in the SBIR Phase 2B Bridge Award resulted in a 4-to-1 leverage. That is $51 million that went in resulted in a matching of over $220 million. We also did an analysis of our program at the NCI overall, and we found that many billions of dollars of sales and many thousands of jobs have been created as a result of the NCI, SBIR, and STTR grant programs. You can learn more about the impacts from our program by Googling that economic impact analysis on the left, and you can read the analysis. So we are here, the team, to support you throughout your SBIR, STTR journey. This is a schematic of some of the programs and initiatives that we have. Since I only have a few minutes, I'm just going to highlight a very few, but encourage you to go to our website or attend one of our regular webinars to learn more. The AAP program has been mentioned before, and I just want to say that it's designed to increase the number of successful applications from underrepresented small businesses, especially women-owned small businesses and socially and economically disadvantaged owned businesses. There's an upcoming webinar next week, September 15th, so please join into that webinar if you're interested. And once you become a grantee, there are so many wonderful programs and initiatives. It was so hard to pick, but I'm going to mention the I-Corps at NIH program. This is an entrepreneurial immersion program where you and your team will complete 100 customer discovery interviews over an 8-week period to help you solidify your thinking about your business model. And our Investor Initiatives program, we match our grantee companies with investors and strategic partners. Each company selected gets feedback and coaching. Just this week, we are holding our MedTech Showcase, which launched yesterday, and there are a total of 200 participants, so that's a total of companies, investors, and strategics. There have been many financing and partnering success stories that have come as a result of our Investor Initiatives program. And last, once every 2 years or so, we invite all of our active awardees to a meeting called TREX, where there's a variety of educational, informational, and networking sessions. This meeting was due to happen in 2020, but for now, it's being postponed at least till next year. And now I'm just going to briefly touch on our funding opportunities. Here are the relevant waiver caps for NCI. So you can apply for up to $400,000 for phase 1 and up to $2 million for phase 2 at the NCI. And there are many funding opportunities on the grant side, although most of our grants come in through the omnibus solicitation. You can see at the bottom the phase 2B award, and under supplements, the diversity supplements, and also the CRP program. Here is a listing of our newly released contract topics. There's 17 of them for fiscal 2021. And here are the relevant dates and a contact if you have questions about these contract topics. Lastly, I just want to highlight 2 particular places in the application process where you can get some feedback from a program director. As you may know, the application process is very competitive, and here you can see that it's actually a little harder at the NCI than it is in the NIH, SBIR, STTR program overall. So if you are thinking about applying, you can prepare your specific aims page and discuss it with a program director. So you can just, as you see on the left here, send in your specific aims page to that email address, and you can set up a call with one of our program directors who has experience or expertise in the area of your innovation. These are the other members of our team that you might interact with along the way. Based on those earlier numbers, please be prepared to resubmit. As you can see on the right here, it's actually substantially easier to get funding as a resubmission than as an original application. So if you don't get funding on your first try, please read that summary statement, which will give you feedback from the reviewers, and then talk to your program officer. As I hope you can see, we've got a lot going on at the NCI, from oversight of the portfolio to outreach events like this, to training and networking for our grantees. Please check out our website and sign up for our email list so you can get the latest news about upcoming events. We have regular webinars and live Q&A about once a month, and there's actually a full webinar scheduled for this Friday. So if you're interested, please, you can still register for that event. And with that, I'll say thank you for your kind attention and turn it back to Stephanie.
Excellent. And I want to take this opportunity to again thank all the panelists today. I really appreciate everyone coming together and preparing the slide decks and being able and willing to chat during this panel to help those who are attending RESI really understand the wide breadth and different opportunities that are available through NIH. Again, if you take nothing else from this, I'd really encourage you to reach out to us. I hope what we've presented today shows that there's a wide diversity of different programs and support that we provide. And really the best way to navigate that, one of the things we really do encourage people to do is to reach out and contact us. You can do that either through the RESI platform. As you heard, a number of our panelists are participating in RESI and are available through that one-on-one platform, or reach out after RESI. We have all of our email addresses are online and published and readily available. So we encourage you to reach out to us, talk with us, ask us questions, and let us help you. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today, and have a wonderful RESI.